Okay, let's start with a question. What would you do? Imagine finding a wallet just lying there on the road. It's stuffed with cash, and there's absolutely no one around to see you pick it up.
Hmm, that's quite the setup. It immediately puts you in that ethical quandary, doesn't it?
It really does, and that question is right at the center of our deep dive today. We're going to explore this really compelling story from our source material. It's about one choice, seemingly small, that just completely changed someone's life.
Right, and we're aiming to unpack it, pull out the key lessons about, integrity, moral choices, and how sometimes, honestly, doing the right thing can have these unexpected ripple effects.
Exactly, how one principled action can really echo outwards. So let's get into it. Our story kicks off in northern England, a quiet town, and we meet Daniel Clark.
Daniel, yeah, he's a janitor, lives a pretty ordinary, humble life.
Not famous, not wealthy. But the key thing about him, his defining trait, was this really strong sense of right and wrong.
Kind of his moral compass, you could say.
Yeah.
Very solid.
So picture this. It's a rainy morning, really coming down. Daniel's heading to work.
Bad weather, probably just trying to get there.
Yeah, and he spots something near the footpath. A leather wallet, soaked, but
Yeah.
you can tell it's full.
Oh, wow. And he checks, looks around first.
He looks around, street's completely empty, picks it up, and inside, wow, loads of cash, hundreds of pounds, maybe more. Credit cards too, and an ID.
An ID? Okay, so he knows who it belongs to.
Yep, Mr. Richard Hargreaves. And Daniel recognizes the name, a well-known businessman from the next city over.
And the immediate thought.
His first thought is, well, a guy like that, he probably wouldn't even notice this was gone.
And that's where the struggle starts, right? Internally.
Instantly, right there, in the rain, you can almost feel it. His fingers are, like, trembling a bit as he thinks about his own situation.
The contrast.
Exactly. He's got bills piling up, rent's due in just 3 days. His daughter, she needs a new winter coat. I mean, this cash, it's
Sure.
the solution. Right there in his hands. It could fix so much so quickly.
The temptation must have been huge. Very real.
Immense. But then this voice just cuts through in his head, clear as anything. Is it really yours?
That fundamental question.
It just stands there wrestling with it, rain pouring down.
It's such a powerful moment because it feels so universal. That clash between personal need, urgent need sometimes, and your own internal code, your moral conviction,
Yeah,
and how you handle that, especially when you think nobody's watching. I mean, that really says everything about your character, doesn't it?
it really does. It's easy to do the right thing when it costs you nothing or when people are looking.
Exactly. The real test is when it's hard, when it conflicts directly with what you want or need.
Absolutely crucial point. It really zeroes in on what integrity means when you're alone with your choice. So what Daniel does next is, well, it's significant. He doesn't go to work.
Oh, a detour then.
A big one. He looks at the address on the ID and decides to go there instead. It takes him to this quite fancy apartment building. Very posh entrance.
Okay, so stepping into a different world almost.
Yeah. He goes to the receptionist, explains he found something from Mr. Hargreaves. She gives him this slightly suspicious look, but makes the call.
Hargreaves comes down.
Comes down a few minutes later, maybe early 50s, and he looks, well, frankly annoyed, impatient, a bit cold.
Not exactly a warm welcome.
Not at all. He just says pretty sharply, yes. Daniel, he just holds out the wallet. Simply says, I found this on the road outside town. Thought you might want it back.
Straightforward, honest.
Mr. Hargreaves takes it, opens it up,
Yeah.
carefully checks everything's there, the cash, the cards. Then he looks up at Daniel, and his expression is this strange mix of surprise and maybe disbelief.
Like he can't quite process it.
Yeah. He asks, you returned this with everything inside. Daniel just nods, keeps it simple. I would hope someone would do the same for me.
A decent human expectation.
Right. And Hargreaves kind of takes a slow breath, looks at him, and says, almost to himself, most wouldn't.
Wow. That says a lot about his view of the world.
It does. And then Hargreaves just turns around, walks away. No thank you, no nothing. Seriously. No thanks.
Not a word. And Daniel's just left standing there,
Yep.
feeling, disappointed.
I bet. Not because he wanted a reward, necessarily.
No, exactly. It wasn't about getting paid for it. It was just the lack of basic gratitude.
Yeah.
A simple acknowledgement.
Yeah, that stings. It's almost like the act itself was diminished by the reaction, even though he did the right thing. That initial reaction from Hargreaves, it's really fascinating, isn't it? It tells you so much about his own cynicism, perhaps. His expectations based on past experiences, maybe.
Definitely.
And for Daniel, it highlights that doing good doesn't always get you applause. Sometimes it's just quiet. And that lack of acknowledgement can be its own little test, even after you've made the choice.
It really can test your resolve.
Yeah.
But, okay, here's where the whole thing flips. The story takes this completely unexpected twist.
Okay, I'm listening.
The very next morning, Daniel's at work. He gets called into the principal's office.
Uh-oh. That never feels good. Right. His first thought is, what have I done now? He's expecting trouble. But when he walks in, it's not the principal sitting there.
Let me guess.
It's Richard Hargreaves.
Ah, okay. Round two.
Exactly. And Hargreaves starts speaking immediately. Mr. Clark, he says, I owe you a profound apology.
An apology. That's a start.
Yeah. He says, yesterday I acted like a man I'm not proud of. Honestly, I was shocked. I didn't know how to respond.
Okay, admitting fault. That's significant.
But then comes the real shocker, the part that changes everything. Hargreaves says, that wallet, it had over 3,000 pounds in it.
3,000. Wow. Okay, that's serious money.
Serious money. And then Hargreaves adds, and more importantly, it was a test.
A test? What do you mean, a test? For Daniel?
Not exactly for Daniel specifically. Hargreaves explains, it was a test I set really for myself, a test of, well, faith in people, I suppose. And my reaction yesterday, I failed it. But you, Mr. Clark, you didn't. You reminded me that integrity, real integrity, still exists.
Whoa. Okay, hold on. That completely reframes the entire encounter.
Right. Suddenly it's not just a lost wallet.
No, it's this deliberate, almost philosophical experiment by Hargreaves. That's quite something.
It is.
And it makes you think, doesn't it?
Mhm.
How often are we part of situations, unknowingly, that are tests? Maybe not deliberate ones like this, but tests of character nonetheless.
Yeah. Tests presented by circumstance.
Exactly. Daniel wasn't being set up, but his natural, unprompted honesty passed this very specific, very high-stakes test that Hargreaves had created in his own mind. It really speaks to, the power of genuine character shining through.
It's an incredible twist. And then the outcome of all of this, Hargreaves doesn't just apologize.
There's more.
Oh, yeah. He pulls out a check, a significant one, presumably, but also a job offer.
A job offer?
He says, look, I own a chain of offices across the region. We need honest people, people like you. Would you consider coming to work for us?
Wow. Just like that.
Just like that.
Yeah.
He tells Daniel, this isn't just, a thank you payment. It's an invitation. Better pay, better hours, a real future, real opportunities.
A life-changing opportunity, stemming from finding that wallet.
Daniel was just completely stunned, floored. He accepted, apparently with tears in his eyes.
So let's boil this down. Daniel's story, it's almost a perfect illustration of that phrase, isn't it? Integrity is doing the right thing even when no one is watching.
Absolute textbook.
It wasn't about cameras or witnesses or potential rewards. It was purely about his internal compass, that voice saying, is it really yours? That's where integrity lives. It operates completely independently of any external factor.
Spot on. And the other big thing it shows so clearly is the power of seemingly small choices. One small, honest decision can open doors that you never imagined. For Daniel, returning that wallet felt like just the decent thing to do.
The only thing to do for him.
Right. But look where it led. A completely different life path opened up. A future he couldn't have possibly predicted just standing there in the rain. It's that ripple effect.
And it also makes us think about what reward really means. The source material suggests the universe rewards honesty not always immediately, but always meaningfully.
Yeah, that's a really interesting way to put it. Meaningfully.
It pushes us beyond just thinking about, okay, did he get cash back? Did he get an immediate payoff? For Daniel, yes, the reward was tangible, a job, security. But these meaningful rewards, they can take other forms too, right? Like peace of mind, self-respect, knowing you stayed true to yourself.
Or even just the impact you have on others, like Daniel had on Hargreaves, inspiring someone else.
Exactly. It's a much broader idea of reward. It's about a kind of deeper flourishing, maybe, that goes beyond just the transactional.
That's a really vital point. Which brings us, naturally, to you listening. How does this story land with you? Does Daniel Clark's experience make you think about your own life? About the choices you face, maybe daily?
Especially those small, quiet moments. The ones where you have a decision to make and maybe nobody else will ever know what you chose, or even that there was a choice.
Yeah. So here's something to carry with you, maybe mull over after this deep dive. How many tiny acts of quiet integrity might be happening all around us every single day? Acts that are shaping futures, opening doors, maybe shifting perspectives in ways we just can't see immediately.